Hey, true seekers, good people of the world, welcome back. Zach here. Today is February 20th, the 51st day of the year. The number 51 can represent conspiracy. The word conspiracy sums to 51. With Pythagorean gematria, it sums to 123 with simple English gematria. Anyhow, today there's this new story from CNN. My boy joined ISIS. It's the story of a Canadian mother. It's coded with all the familiar gematria, and we're going to take a look at it. Here's another headline from the story. Son died fighting for ISIS. Mom wants to fight propaganda. And Truth Seeker, once I read this headline, it just annoyed me so much that I decided I needed to make this post. And what we're going to do in it is not only decode this story and how ridiculous it is, but we're also just going to go through all the ISIS propaganda that I have documented in the time they've been posting it since July, August 2014. Remember, ISIS came out of nowhere overnight, and we've been bombarded with it more and more each day, mixed in with other scare stories such as Ebola, measles, flu, what have you. All right, so the mother's name who wants to fight ISIS propaganda is Christiane Boudreaux. And her son is named Damien Claremont, who's 22 years old. We're not given her age, but if we were, it would probably be a multiple of 11. So the name Damien Claremont, her son, Damien is 24, Claremont is 42, meaning of life number, sums to 66, a number they code oh so much. If we wrote out 33 and summed it, it would sum to 66. He's 22 years old. Think about 22 and 66. 3 times 22 is 66. The number 322, this mathematical relationship. He's from Calgary, Canada. To C name, CC33. The mother's name, Christiane Boudreaux, is also very much coded. Christiane has the numerology of 57. 5 plus 7 would become 12. 1 plus 2 would become 3. Boudreaux is 33. The number we find coded into the majority of the hoaxes. I did a video called The Mainstream Media is a Military Psyop and Always Has Been. True Seeker, I firmly believe that the television was invented by these people with their continued plan of destroying us. And from day one, it's just been all about filling our minds with what they want us to think. Propaganda, socializing, training our brains how they want them to work. Because that's the way they see us if you don't get it, True Seeker. We're just a bunch of pawns on the chessboard. They use us to generate wealth and do their bidding for them. We're like mice in a maze. Anyhow, this name, Christiane Boudreaux, sums to 90. The only two numbers that sum to 33 in Gematria are 16 and 90. Probably more coding. So, she wants to end ISIS propaganda. Well, obviously that's a joke. She's part of the propaganda. And fortunately for you guys, I am someone who wants to end the propaganda. So let's get into it. Let's just go through all these ISIS headlines. This is back from September 3rd, 9/3, a number having much to do with Thelema. We got this headline from CNN. ISIS killer sends second message to Obama. And notice how they hyphenate second message. The gematria of second is 24, but if you do it with the S exception, it's 33. So here they've coded a 33 into the word. Message is 24 with the S exception is 42, meaning of life number. Familiar numerology that we see. We just saw 33 and 42 in the last headline. Here it is hyphenated. Down here you see paying the price hyphenated. Paying the price, 36, 15, 33, sums to 84. Why is 84 significant? Obama's birthday is August 4th. The name Obama in Jewish gematria sums to 84. United States of America with Pythagorean gematria sums to 84, just like paying the price. We Americans are paying the price for living in this country. Every day, and this is how we pay it, by being lied to constantly. That's what we don't realize about ourselves. We are an abused citizenry, and that's why we have so many problems, from abuse to addiction to rape to all the other sick symptoms of our society. We are all victims of abuse. We've been nothing but lied to and strained for no apparent reason other than to beat us into the slave state we're all in and have submitted to. This is how it's been done, one day at a time. Not just ISIS. ISIS is just the latest of a long line of lies. Obama's ISIS speech for September 10th, 2014. Notice the numerology of this date. 9 plus 10 is 19, plus 14 is 33. So Obama's giving speeches about ISIS on dates with 33 numerology. Is it any coincidence, truth seeker? No, it is not. This is how it's done. This is how it's always been done. JFK once gave a speech, I am a Berliner, in Berlin on a date with a 33 numerology. Berlin equals 33. It's where Hitler came to power in the year 33. Nazis equals 33. They always want us to be scared of 33 things. Look at this headline. What is ISIS Achilles heel? Achilles, of course, a 33 word. And if you can recall the name of the person doing all the beheadings in the fake beheading videos, 33. Here's another one. How big of a threat is ISIS to the U.S.? Our flag, you guys, our flag is the 33 in this symbol. The establishment date, June 14th, 1777, a date with a numerology of 33. What else? Obama, he's also from Hawaii, one of 33 states. There's only 3. The first, Delaware, the last, Hawaii, and the 6th, Massachusetts. The numerology of 33 is 3 plus 3 equals 6. One of the earliest beheadings from the ISIS videos. Notice how they always have the ISIS guy in black and the beheaded victim in orange. Recently there were 21 Christians supposedly killed, all in orange. Orange is the only color that sums to 33. David Haynes, the name, summed to 51. If you reduced Haynes to 11 and then summed it, you could get 33 that way. It's kind of cheating. David Cameron, the Prime Minister in the UK, spoke out right away after this. Said something needed to be done about ISIS. You can see how these beheadings are used for political purposes, because it doesn't take long after for them to be aired on the media that the Prime Minister or someone in the Department of Defense is speaking out about what needs to be done about ISIS. You know, nations are willing to go to war with a country after a beheading video is shown. It's really silly when you think about it, truth seeker. This is the way our world governments operate. You know, you think after all these years of injustice in all these corners of the world, our governments would have risen up and did something about that. But no. One beheading video out of Syria or Iraq, and man, it's big news. Our government needs to do something about it. It's just really a joke when you think about it. It's a joke. Here's another headline around that same time, how they like to put up different headlines with the same image. They are monsters. They, a 22 word, are 15 monsters, 33. They got to get their numbers in there. They are monsters. Then we're just given little things like this all the time. Defense Secretary Hagel says it's hard to pinpoint the strength of ISIS. It's like, why is that breaking news? Why do I need to know that? If you think about it, it just shows you how our media works. It's just about putting this imagery, these words in front of us. Further, the name Charles is a 66 word, Hagel is a 33 word. He has since stepped down from his post. Flames of War. This was a new ISIS propaganda video. We can take a minute and watch some of that. But look at the name of it. Flames of War. Flames 20, of 12, War 15, sums to 47 with Pythagorean gematria. It was released on 9/19/14, a date with a numerology of 42. Who does things by these numbers? Zionist Jews or ISIS, which emerged out of nowhere? You see, Truth Seeker? You can really start to see through this, especially once you identify the number patterns, because these are certain people's trademarks, and those people aren't ISIS. Here, let's just take a little bit of time to watch this documentary and see if it looks like Hollywood put this out or a terror group that emerged overnight. Are you sold, Truth Seeker? Do you think ISIS is legit now? Coming soon. It's a joke, isn't it? It is a joke. So that was Flames of War, 47 gematria. Very important to the United States. Our birthday is the 4th of July. 47, the word obey equals 47. The word authority equals 47. Christian equals 47. Beast equals 47. Number of significance. This is the news network that first put out the Flames of War video. Curious News Network, curious dates. Likely another propaganda news network, like we're so often subjected to. Here was a headline they put out in advance before this man was beheaded, just how the ongoing psychological warfare is waged. We were given this headline, "Don't kill peaceful, selfless man," wife pleads. ISIS is holding British taxi driver. And it just makes you go, man, how did ISIS get a British taxi driver? What? This story came out on September 21st, 2014, a date with 44 numerology, the kill numerology. His name is Alan Henning. The name Henning also has a gematria of 44. So often we find it this way. The words being coded to match the date. Also, Henning is one of these names with that ENN sequence, which creates 555. In terms of nice 33 words, peaceful is one of them. And notice, this headline has peaceful hyphenated. They wanted us to catch peaceful. Alan Henning was later beheaded. So the story went. We were also given this ISIS spin-off group, Khorasan, they were talking about for a second. U.S. strikes Khorasan in Syria. Khorasan is another 33 word. We have General Dempsey and Hagel in the Pentagon at this time, both 33 names. What do you know? Here's just another ISIS story. Elementary teacher to ISIS. They've actually told this propaganda story more than once. The 33 in this story is the word teacher. In numerology, 33 is the master teacher number. Teacher is a 33 word. So they're always coding in 33 to their propaganda. Probably getting little laughs off the thought of a French teacher becoming a ISIS terrorist. Here's how it all started once upon a time. Back then it was threatening. These days they're telling us they've taken over a lot of cities in Iraq. But always the message coming from the 33. Chuck Hagel, 33. Agent 33. Oh, I forgot about this. It's good we're going back through this. On October 15th, 2014, the numerology of this date is 39. 10 plus 15 is 25, plus 14 is 39. We were given the name Operation Inherent Resolve for the mission against ISIS. Look at the gematria of Operation Inherent Resolve. Resolve, they got to get the 33 word in there. Sums to 131. Rearrange those numbers a different way and get 113, 311. Perhaps they see it the same way. Coded dates, coded phrases. Always has been this way. ISIS kills 322 people. What do we know about the number 322 in our nation's history? Date of the Jamestown Massacre. Date of the Stamp Act. Date Obamacare passed. Rare Sunday night vote. March 22nd, Universal Time. Yale Skull and Bones in Connecticut, where the Bush family's from. They're from New Haven. If you read the details of this story, more coded 33 gematria, Truth Seeker. What do you know? It won't stop. Here's that headline again. Here's the photo they gave us for it. They say 322 dead bodies, but they show you none. On November 24th, this is Evolution Day. This is the date Darwin published Origin of Species. The name Darwin sums to 33 in gematria. Died on a date with 33 numerology. His first name's also Charles Darwin. Well, on this one, Charles Hagel resigned or announced that he would be. The numerology of this date was 49. Another number of significance. Charles Hagel to resign. He just finished up the other day, and on that day, the Army released a 33-page report saying that Army officials lie and it's a problem, trying to pin it to Hagel. A 33-page report. No lie, Truth Seeker. Look it up. I just put it on the blog the other day, too. This is more recent. ISIS. The threat is spreading. At first, they kind of made it seem like it was an attack against the United States. Now here it is against Japan and Jordan. Just given these headlines recently, upping the ante in hyphens, and look at the numerology of upping the ante. What do you know? More of their master numerology in hyphens. If you do it with simple English gematria, it sums to 156, which is what God equals in English gematria. If you've seen the movie Truman Show, that movie was released on the 156th day of the year. The name Truman Burbank equals 156. And that movie's about playing God. And the people who run our media, I'm quite certain they think they're playing God. And this is how they do it, by controlling us through the television. Because no matter what your spiritual belief is in this world, most people's God is the television. It's what's telling them how to live, controlling their daily thought process, controlling what they want to eat next, what they want to buy next. That's how they've done it to us. And in the Truman Show, television's very important as well. Here's the Christian mass execution. They said they were Coptic Christians. Here's Coptic down here. The word Coptic is 66. The word Christian is 47. The word Bible equals 21. And they said 21 Christians were beheaded. Peter Bergen has also been one of the central writers this entire time on all these ISIS propaganda stories. He's the same person that gave us all the information about Osama bin Laden. He's the same person that interviewed Osama bin Laden before 9/11 in June that CNN aired. Notice you can't find that interview on the web though anymore. They've gotten rid of it. But in June of 2001, Peter Bergen did an interview with Osama bin Laden. Bergen is a 33 word. What do you know? Please watch my video. The mainstream media is a military psyop. It's Rule 33-1 in the Army Field Manual that talks about the psyop program against the domestic population. That's us. This whole ISIS is it. The psyop program. Nothing but lies. Nothing but lies. On February 16th, a date with 33 numerology. Remember, he first gave his ISIS speech on a date with 33 numerology. Now he makes this request for war against ISIS on a date with 33 numerology. Up here, we have a picture of Thailand. Thailand is one of the 8 countries in the world with a 33 name. It changed its name to Thailand on a date with 33 numerology, Truth Seeker. We're going to go to war with 33 again. ISIS and Iraq, or not ISIS, excuse me, Syria and Iraq are on the 33rd parallel. Just some more ISIS headlines right here. ISIS burned up to 40 people alive in Iraq, official says. It's like, well, what official? You know, on the same day you gave us a story that our military officials are lying to us, a 33-page report. Here's where we started again. My boy joined ISIS. I made this observation when I first heard about ISIS. If you look on my blog, this is one of my very first posts about ISIS. I asked, are they a Rockefeller creation? ISIS with simple English gematria sums to 56, like Rockefeller with Pythagorean gematria. The word president also equals 56 with the S exception. So, also in this one, they hyphenated long-term project, decoded that. Long-term project, here we have 413374. Right from the beginning, we find the 33 coding. They're telling us ISIS is going to be a long-term project. Look at this. Look at this. You know, if you just follow the headlines, Truth Seeker, you can see how it doesn't even make sense. This is August 10th. The story they gave us, hundreds of young men aged 16, remember 16 equals 33, to 25 have joined ISIS recently. This is back when it was new. Back then they were saying there were only hundreds of people on ISIS. That's not that many. Now when they talk about ISIS, they talk about it as if we need to go to war with them. As if it's worthy of a war, as if there's that many. And they've given us headlines saying they're doing all this oil refining. They're minting their own currency. I mean, it just doesn't add up. The James Foley beheading hoax, the first ISIS hoax, the story began November 22nd, 2012, supposedly, Truth Seeker. 11/22. What is 11 plus 22? 33. Oh, you just look at all the details, Truth Seeker. It's all coded out. It's all coded out. This is how it all started. ISIS beheads James Foley. Here's just another story we got early along the way about how ISIS had this domestic recruiting power. Supposedly they recruited this Douglas MacArthur McCain. MacArthur's a really weird name, wouldn't you say? It sounds like MacArthur, but it's MacArthur. 33. Douglas MacArthur McCain. Also known as Double Mike. One lie after another. And then David Cameron, he's been talking tough. Of course, he's an agent of the 33. Most world leaders are. We got this story about ISIS wanting to mint their own new currency. 2 gold, 3 silver, 2 copper. That's the way their coins would be. More curious gematria, numerology. And let's close by talking about something important. If there is an ISIS, what it is it's Blackwater East. And if you don't know what Blackwater is, it is the original private military firm that blew up during the first, or I should say the second Gulf War, Afghanistan under the Bush administration. Private military got huge under the second Bush administration, George W. Bush, between 2001 and the end of his administration, and it continues to grow. It's growing massively under Obama. But Blackwater was, one of the main beneficiaries of this growth. And they've expanded all over, and I suspect their operation is international. And if there is an ISIS, what I'm saying is they're paid for mercenaries, ran through something like Blackwater, and their purposeful opposition to support our government's propaganda. And if you want to know how we pay for these types of things, the answer comes from days like September 10th, 2001, where Donald Rumsfeld announced that the United States Pentagon could not account for more than $2 trillion for the years 1999 and 2000. Truth Seeker, to spend $1 trillion, and again, he said we lost more than $1 trillion for each of those years. To spend $1 trillion, you would have to spend $1 per second for 32,000 years straight. That means you couldn't sleep for 32,000 years, and you'd have to spend $1 every single second of that life to spend that much money. All right, let's hear it straight from Donald Rumsfeld.
Pentagon. The day before 9/11, Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld declared war, not on foreign terrorists.
The adversary is closer to home. It's the Pentagon bureaucracy.
He said money wasted by the military poses a serious threat.
In fact, it could be said that it's a matter of life and death.
Rumsfeld promised change, but the next day, the world changed. And in the rush to fund the war on terrorism, the war on waste seems to have been forgotten.
My 03 budget calls for more than $48 billion in new defense spending.
More money for the Pentagon when its own auditors admit
cannot account for 25% of what it spends. We're just going to cut it off right there. Truth Seeker, it's already devastating enough, You and I, we go out, most of us, and we work hard, and we pay a huge percentage of our earned income to the government in taxes. After it's all said and done, we spend roughly half of our income each year on taxes. And then this is what our government does with it. Loses it, blows it, possibly spends it on propaganda, such as ISIS. So it's time to wake up and see what's being done. It's time to lift the blindfold. How long are you going to subdue yourself if you haven't seen the light yet? We are being lied to every day. Our lives are being wasted. We're wasting our children's lives. Kids are now going to school and reading in history books about Al-Qaeda, September 11th. This is a joke. Yes, we've always been raised on lies. It's now apparent, but for how much longer are we going to let it be? For how much longer are we going to be too afraid to stick our necks out while the world around us just falls apart? This is the consequence of not speaking out. No matter what you think about Martin Luther King, he has a great quote on silence. He says, "Silence is the worst betrayal. That's why I speak." All right, until next time, Truth Seeker.